When we talk about supporting our veterans, our minds often jump to crisis mode. But what if we're getting there too late? Today, we're looking at a program that's doing something different. They're not just waiting by the waterfall to pull people out, they're going way upstream to prevent them from falling in at all. Let's take a look. This quote from a Marine Corps veteran named Tim just hits you right in the gut. It perfectly captures how a crisis really begins. It's not some big, loud explosion. It's quiet. It's a slow, steady shrinking of your world until you feel completely boxed in. And that's the key, isn't it? A major crisis, especially a mental health emergency, rarely just appears out of nowhere. It's almost always the end result of a dozen smaller problems piling up, one after the other, pulling someone under until they just can't fight the current anymore. So let's stick with that image. Think of all those stressors as a powerful, rushing river. Maybe it starts with a car breaking down, then a missed rent payment, then housing instability. Each one is a current pulling a veteran further and further downstream, straight towards that crisis waterfall.
And there's a name for this stuff: upstream stressors. These are those everyday, real-world problems. Things that, on their own, you might be able to handle. But when they start stacking up, you can't find a stable place to live, money is tight, you can't get to your appointments. That's when the foundation starts to crack. It's about life getting in the way of living.
Okay, so if the problem starts upstream, it just makes sense that the solution has to be there too, right? This means we have to shift our thinking, from just reacting to a crisis to actively preventing one. It's a whole new way of looking at veteran support, and there's one group that's really paving the way. And here they are. This is Scars and Stripes, Inc. It's a nonprofit that was built by veterans, for veterans. And that's so important because they get it. They understand the culture, they've lived the challenges, and they know what it means to have someone in your corner who actually speaks your language. But where they work is just as crucial as who they are. They're not tucked away in some isolated office. Nope. They are strategically planted right in the middle of the Hot Springs Community Resource Center in Arkansas. And let me tell you, this location, it's their secret weapon. And from this central command post, they run a program called the Veteran Support and Stabilization Program, or VSSP for short. This is that upstream solution we've been talking about, put into action. So let's get into how it actually works. So what's the secret sauce? How do you actually build that dam of support way upstream long before the water gets rough? Well, let's break down the VSSP method. It all boils down to 4 incredibly practical pillars. First, making sure there's a roof over their head and the lights stay on. Second, making sure they can actually get to where they need to go. Third, helping them cut through the red tape to get IDs and documents needed for jobs or benefits. And finally, and this is the glue that holds it all together, wrapping it all up in real, consistent, veteran-to-veteran case management.
And this is the big aha moment. When you solve these basic, tangible problems, when you take away the constant fear of eviction, or make sure someone can get to that doctor's appointment, you're doing more than just fixing a problem. You are actively chipping away at the stress and hopelessness that can lead to suicide. In this model, helping a veteran pay a utility bill is a form of suicide prevention. It's that direct.
And this is why it works so well. It's not about being a number in a system. It's a human-to-human connection. The folks at Scars and Stripes are veterans themselves. They meet people with respect and understanding, not just a clipboard and a bunch of forms. That trust, that relationship, it becomes a shield against the feeling of being alone. But look, the way they help is incredible, but where they help, that's the real game changer. The genius of this program is tied directly to its location. Think about it. Instead of being an island, VSSP is the named terminal in a huge airport of support services. They use what's called a one-roof model. That means a veteran doesn't get a handful of pamphlets and sent all over town. The help they need is literally just a few steps down the hall. And we're not just talking about 1 or 2 partners. We're talking about a whole ecosystem. Right there in the same building, you've got workforce centers for job hunting, Goodwill for skills training, professional mental health services, medical clinics, you name it. It's all right there. And this is where the magic happens. They have this thing called the soft handoff model. A case manager doesn't just give a vet a phone number and say, "Good luck." No way. They physically get up, walk the veteran down the hall, and personally introduce them to the person at the next agency. It's simple, but it's revolutionary. It guarantees that no one ever falls through the cracks. So, we've seen the model, we've seen the method, but what does it all add up to? Let's talk about the real-world impact of going upstream. Every single month, in just one county in Arkansas, this program provides this critical, life-stabilizing support to between 40 and 50 veterans. And what's absolutely mind-blowing is how little it can cost to completely change someone's path. Just think about this for a second. $400. For just $400, they can stop an eviction dead in its tracks. That's not just keeping a family in their home, it's stopping a whole chain reaction of chaos before it can even start. $250. That's what it can take to keep the lights and heat on, taking away a massive source of stress so a veteran can focus on getting better, not on just surviving. And sometimes it's as little as $50. $50 for a ride, ensuring a veteran doesn't miss that job interview that could change everything, or that therapy appointment they desperately need. It's incredible how such small acts of support can have such huge ripple effects. And that's really what this is all about. It's about changing the environment. It's about building a life where a crisis is just less likely to happen in the first place. By creating stability and connection, you create a space where hope can actually breathe and start to grow again.
So, I'll just leave you with this thought. The VSSP model proves that by going upstream, by tackling the small problems before they become a raging river, we can do so much more than just rescue people. We can help build lives that are worth living from the start. What if that is the real future of veteran support?